Hey everyone. Hi, welcome back to another Tuesday Newsday. I have a very special guest. It is 4 p.m. here in the Eastern Time Zone, and yet in I have Tony joining me here from the future. What time is it there?
Hi guys, it's 10 p.m. here and sweltering hot.
In the south of France.
Yeah.
So we were just talking culture and French and everything. I live in Montreal, so I'm in Quebec, which is French speaking as well. So we were bonding a little bit in the pre-show here, but really nice to have you on, Tony.
Thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here, and always happy to talk about Shadowrun and the new Anarchy system.
Yeah. So you're from Black Book Editions.
I am.
Can you tell us a little bit about the project and how this all came to be?
Sure. So, like you said, I'm from Black Book Editions, which is the French company that has been publishing Shadowrun in French for over 20 years now. It's one of the longest running partnerships between TTRPG publishers, Catalyst Game Labs and Black Book Editions over Shadowrun. And when Anarchy came out in English, obviously we were watching it very closely, and we developed a French version for it, which was basically a translation of the original English version with some small tweaks. And it turned out that it was massively successful on the French market, the French-speaking market, so not just in France, but also in other French-speaking areas. And the reason for that is that we had clearly identified a request and a need for a lighter rule set for Shadowrun. People were really excited about the setting, but quite a few people felt that maybe the classic rule set was a bit too dense for their taste. So Anarchy was really successful, as I've said, to the point that today it's nearly on par with the classic edition.
Oh, I have feedback coming through. I'm just going to mute when you're talking.
No problem.
Thanks, Tech, for letting me know.
Yeah. So what I was saying is that Anarchy V1 was very successful in France, selling nearly on par today with 6th edition, with the added what was nice about it was that a lot of the early adopters for Anarchy were first-time Shadowrun customers. So it's not like they migrated from V6 or V5 to Anarchy. It's that they get to enjoy Shadowrun for the first time. It's been a few years now, I think like nearly 10 years for the English version of Anarchy, and slightly less than that for the French version. And a couple of years ago, when we had to ask ourselves the question, do we want to do another print run for the core book, or is a new edition of Anarchy in the works? We reached out to Catalyst and asked you guys if you had another, maybe another edition in the works. It wasn't in the plans at the moment. So Mathieu, who was the lead designer for the French version of Anarchy V1, said, he raised his hand and said, hey, you know what, I got ideas. He had like some really cool design ideas for what a new edition of Anarchy could be. And so we pitched it to Black Book, to us. We talked to you guys about it. And one thing led to the other. And in the end, we ended up basically being kind of subcontracted to do this edition. So we've been working hand in hand on it, and it's been really good.
It's been really fun to kind of see the enthusiasm, because we know that there's a big German community for Shadowrun, and then we know for France there's a big community, but that like Anarchy's where it's at, that they really love Anarchy. So I guess in that time period of playing Anarchy for 10 years and coming up with a new system and stuff, I know that I've heard that you've said like we've incorporated a lot of feedback from players and stuff like that into a second edition. So what does that look like?
Well, we had the opportunity to look into what was most requested by the community. There were several things that like remarks that were made regarding the first edition. In particular, the fact that code DMing was a default, the default option in V1 in English. In French, whether it's V1 or V2, it's an optional gameplay option, but standard narration is the norm. We kept basically I would say we kept the game's DNA. You still roll 6-sided dice. You still consider 5s and 6s as hits, but the idea was to really focus on the narration, on the action, on pacing, and you want to be rolling dice, but you want to be rolling them less often, and you want to basically govern all actions under a single type of roll. So basically, if I can go through what a basic roll would be like, you're going to still be based on the dice pool that is attributes, but there's less of them now. There's basically 5 of them. So attribute plus skill, and that gives you your dice pool. But your dice pool will be fixed now. It's not going to be modified by modifiers. You will always roll the same number of dice. So let's say, for instance, you're trying to do a jump. You're going to roll strength plus athletics. So your attributes will be strength. Your skill will be athletics. Let's say you get a 3. The scale of attributes is 1 to 4 now. Let's say you roll your strength at 3 and athletics at 3 as well. So your dice pool will be 6. You will always roll those 6 dice, and 5s and 6 are hits. The GM knows how many hits you need to succeed in what you're doing, and it's usually between 2 for very easy actions, and 6 for very difficult ones. So usually, just rolling the dice in your dice pool is going to be it's not going to be enough to succeed in all actions, especially if they're difficult. So what you're going to have to do is use the risk mechanic that is integral to the new edition, which means that within your dice pool that does not fluctuate, you're going to choose which ones of your dice are regular dice and which ones are risk dice. Risk dice are of a different color. So you get to choose, you can choose that none of those dice is going to be risk die. Or all of them are going to be, or only some of them are going to be. What happens with those risk dice is that hits on those count double. So say you use 2 risk dice, you get 2 hits on those. It's actually going to be 4 hits. So you will be more successful in your action. The drawback to that is that if you get a 1 on a risk die, it triggers a glitch. A glitch is just a minor failure. If you get 2 1s, it's going to be a critical glitch, which is the equivalent of a critical glitch in any other game. And 3 1s is a disaster that's of a scale that will just completely derail an adventure, for instance. But now, what does have? Yeah.
How I like to describe that difference is like a minor glitch is like a misfire from your gun, where a critical glitch could be you drop it and it shoots and could hit a friend or something like that. Exactly. And then disastrous is, to me, like your gun jams, it's bricked, like you're done with the gun, like it's over.
Yeah, it could be that, or it could actually be even worse than that, meaning, like, for instance, you shoot the person you were supposed to rescue. For instance, it's usually something that's really, really hardcore and derails an adventure. But now you shouldn't. So people are going to say, okay, you said you're sending us a system that prevents you from screwing up the very second the action starts. So don't be scared about these risk dice, because what's also integral to the system is the way shadow amps work in Anarchy V2. So shadow amps are basically your character's powers, its specialized equipment, like cyber decks or rigger command consoles for that type of character. It's your contacts. It's basically anything that has like significant, anything your character is or owns that provides him with significant advantages when you play. And what those amps do is they provide risk reduction, so from 1 to 3, and this risk reduction mechanic will allow you to ignore one or several of the ones you get when you glitch. So basically, that's how you're going to modulate how much risk you take. There's another very simple mechanic that's at play. Whenever you're going to have to make a decision on the fly as a GM, the philosophy is rulings over rules, usually. So you're going to determine whether the character is in an advantageous position or a disadvantageous position. And basically, if you have an advantage, you will consider that fours are hits as well as 5s and 6s. So statistically, you will score a lot more hits. And if you're at a disadvantage, only 6s will be considered hit. So you will score a lot less. So you always have an incentive to be in an advantageous position. And also you have an incentive to take risks. And the way it translates into the actual game flow is players are, whether it's the GM or the PCs, are encouraged to describe their character's action and say what kind of risk they take to justify the extra die they get.
Yeah, I have to say, so for those of you that watch the Anarchy streams at Gen Con, I focused very much on the rules light because I didn't get a chance to read the entire book before, because it's gone through multiple edits and I didn't want to misrepresent something. So we focused on the advantage, disadvantage, and the stat rolling with the attributes, the skill plus attribute, as Tony said, and an edge, which I want to hear about too. So I left risk reduction and most of the shadow amps out of the streams just to have a light taste there. So can you tell us a little bit about how edge works then too?
Yeah, edge is another very important part of the game. In French, actually, we call them, it's called edge in English because that's more relevant to what we want to convey. But in French, we call them anarchy points. So basically, it's like the whole. It's like really, really integral to the game's identity. Basically, they are a resource. You start with 3 of those points. 4 if your character is meta-human. And those points you're going to use to put yourself at an advantage. You're going to use it to intervene in the narration. You're going to use it to reroll dice. So you have like 3 or 4 main uses for edge that are going to let you influence what's happening, and you're going to use it and also get it back through your character's dispositions and cues, which is something that we salvaged from the first edition. If you go to the Kickstarter page, you can. Because I'm not sure we mentioned it, but the Kickstarter is live and it's ongoing, and you can go to the Shadowrun Anarchy 2.0 Kickstarter page and find lots of resources there, including preview of the character sheets.
Which I'm going to stop you for a minute because it's very possible that if you go to the Kickstarter page and pledge now, we are at 983 backers and $98,000. So we are probably going to see 100,000 US happen while we're on Tuesday Newsday.
So cool, yeah. Because you know what? That's just as a side note. We are based in France, so on Kickstarter, the amounts are displayed in euros, so it's less dramatic than on your end, guys. Yeah, so it's really cool. So yeah, go there and pledge now. You'll find lots of resources there, lots of information. We'll post more rules, insights, and details and examples also that are taken straight from the book, which is fully written, fully illustrated, currently undergoing layouts. So we'll post lots of insight and examples on all sorts of rules in the coming days. And you can download the character sheet preview of the character sheet there. And what was I talking about? Edge. Yeah, so cues and dispositions. That's what I was talking about. If you remember, in Anarchy V1, you had this very, very cool system where your character was defined by keywords and certain punchlines, and basically let you really get the gist of who they are and how they behave and what they believe in, etc. Like defining elements in nutshells. Really cool. We kept that, and they have this gameplay function where basically you use them to regain edge and drive your actions forward. Speaking of edge, another very, very important rule we developed for this version of Shadowrun is the legwork rules. One thing that the game's lead designer wanted to work on is how to design a plan. Like usually Shadowruns are about like elaborate heists and special ops that require like careful planning and recon and and social engineering ahead of the heat. Like really cool TV shows or really cool heist movies. But we've all played Shadowrun. Usually, you design a plan, you spend hours doing that, and then the moment you start acting, you screw up a roll and everything goes down the drain. And that's fine it's fine to play this way, it's fun. But sometimes you also want to like have this this cool feeling of like this seasoned team of professionals pulling out a crazy operation. And the way we want to portray that in the game is that you're going to have the opportunity to build a collective edge pool ahead of executing a Shadowrun. Meaning, we're going to simulate that semi-abstractly, which basically means every character in the team is going to say, every player is going to say, okay, my character does that ahead of the hit. I don't know. They're supposed to break into a facility, so this one is going to, my mage is going to astrally recon the site. My decker is going to probe the server's defenses. My face character is going to start sweet talking one of the guards who's currently off duty and get information. So basically, the player will describe how their character does legwork for ahead of the run. They will do a single roll, like I said, attribute plus skill, and basically every hit that is generated on this roll will generate an edge point that will go in the team's collective edge pool. And when the action starts, what you're going to do is instead of you can always build elaborate plans if you want, but if you want to keep it fast and furious, you can just jump into the action, and anytime you hit a roadblock or an obstacle, you're going to use an edge point or several, and basically trigger a flashback and say, okay, but that's how my character planned for it and prepared for it ahead of the run. And this way you keep the action moving forward.
That's it's funny because I've been watching a lot of My Hero Academia since we announced the My Hero Kickstarter for the miniatures game coming up, and it's very on brand with the flashback where it's like, oh, we're gonna pause and have that episode flashback of that time that this happened, which is why I'm gonna make the decisions that I'm going to make coming up. And
Yeah.
I love that.
So yeah,
All right.
that in a nutshell, that's those are the main rules, evolutions, I would say.
So what about character creation? What can we expect from that?
Yeah. So character creation, as I said, what we kept from previous Shadowrun editions is we want to have a very, very rich and an open character creation process where you can really play any type of character you want. So this customization, I guess the principle of being able to customize your character is still there. And basically, we get rid of karma, at least as a mechanic. Now everything is Nuyen because we're in a dystopian cyberpunk setting, so everything is about money. So karma is Nuyen, and Nuyen is everywhere. So you get paid in Nuyen, but you also use Nuyen to create and advance your character. As I've mentioned before, you get attributes, so you're going to pay a certain amount of Nuyen for attributes, skills. Also your shadow amps, so specialized equipment. Gear is slightly different. It's basically equipment you have, but with no gameplay impact. It's just like from a purely narrative perspective. You say, okay, you have a car, or you have, I don't know, a comlink, or you have fake sin, for instance, but those are only going to be like narrative devices, and not they will not have stats in game. The one exception is spells, which are no longer shadow amps as opposed to what they were in Anarchy V1, because we want mages to be able to have more spells. So spells and weapons are a separate thing, but they still cost million. And that's it. And we also streamline contact management in the sense that contacts now are shadow amps, actually, in the sense that they will, you have a new skill called your social networking skill, which can have specializations depending on the social circles you are talking about. So you can be specialized in corporate social network, or streets, or matrix, etc. It's kind of like the old etiquette skill for the ones who remember the older editions. And what you're going to do when you're doing social tasks is you're going to obviously role play them, but you can also roll your dice, do a social test, and your contact network will be used as risk reduction for those tests. So that's why it all works under the same system. And that's about it. That's about all you have. You get armor also, which is slightly simpler than in Anarchy V1, and that's about it. So character creation will be based on this, and you have shadow amps, also like cybernetic implants, bioware, cyberware, etc. Yeah.
Well, if I can switch gears a little bit, because I do want to make sure we end up with time for Q&A too, and I still want to talk about the Kickstarter. But before we get into that, one more question about the book. I'd like to hear a little bit about the art direction. That cover is fire. Like I love Shadowrun art, but the 6th edition and stuff tends to be very dark and doesn't focus on the bright neon and like dragon on the cover. Like I'm just so excited. And can you tell us a little bit about that art direction?
Well, I have to say we're blessed, because just like the book you see above my head, which is a book that was released in French, which was a companion book to Anarchy V1, the artist for this cover is the same artist you have for Anarchy V1 and for many V6 covers. His name is Benjamin Chiletti. He's French, actually. And he designed the cover for, he drew the cover for Anarchy V2. And basically, the idea was, okay, are we going to do like a team of runners like we see quite often on Shadowrun covers, or we're just going to focus on like really key elements of the setting? So we need an urban backdrop, like futuristic city backdrop. We need the Shadowrunner, and we need something that will represent the fantasy element. And obviously, the most powerful element you'll have is the dragon. And initially, it was like more of a close-up of like the runner's face and the dragon's face. But we wanted to really convey this a notion of scale. Like dragons, like great dragons in Shadowrun, are massive, and they are like extremely threatening. So in the end, it was like really a back and forth between Ben and Marianne, who's our art director at Black Book Editions, and to like take a step back and have these two characters on completely different scales, still embodying what makes Shadowrun basically. And Ben is also.
I want the art piece. Like that alone, just on my wall, is gorgeous. So really well done.
It's an opportunity because like if people who will back during the first days of the Kickstarter campaign will automatically receive the like free art print as an early bird gift. So free art print of the cover on like a nice art paper. So you can frame it and you can put it on your wall. It's really cool. And Ben is also responsible for the amazing art we have for the Game Master screen, because we commissioned him to create an original illustration for the Game Master screen, and it's like so cool, like a big Seattle skyline. But yeah, he had this idea of okay, we always have the Space Needle. We're going to do something slightly different. This time we don't have the Space Needle, but we have Mount Rainier. Is that how you pronounce it? So Mount Rainier in the background. So you still see you're in Seattle, and yeah, just lovely.
That's awesome. So cool.
And,
awesome.
And this GM screen comes for free with all physical pledge rewards. So you get the GM screen for free.
That's awesome. That's great. So just get the core rulebook. You get that GM screen if you get the fancy cover, which, by the way, I just found out. I didn't realize that the exclusive edition is glow in the dark.
Yeah, actually, yeah. The collector's edition. So it's basically an alternative version of the cover. And people who are familiar with Shadowrun will recognize which NPC we put on the cover. That's Harlequin. So it's got this like really cool design by a guy named Nikola Galkovsky, who's also been working with us a lot. And yeah, it's got a special finish. I don't remember exactly what it's called in English, but and basically it also has like glow in the dark features. Basically, the parts that are in orange on the cover will glow in the dark. So the whole part that's around the eyes and some other things, I can't wait to put my hands on it.
That's awesome. That's really cool. What can you walk us through the other reward options? Any stretch goals that might be coming?
Sure.
That whole stuff.
Sure. So basically, what we wanted to do was to offer like a typical pledge reward, which included the core rulebook and the Game Master screen. So the core rulebook is included by default, obviously, either as the standard edition or the collector's edition, and it comes with the GM screen as a gift. So that's the basic pledge reward, book and GM screen. You can add to that one or several of the PDF versions for the book and GM screen. You can have everything all at once. And another option, another add-on that you can add to your pledge is the character sheet file. basically, I think 20 character sheet that would come as a pad. Yeah. So basically, I think we kept it at like four reward levels because we didn't want to overcomplicate things, especially when you take into account that we're doing this in both languages, so twice as many reward levels. But you can always customize your pledge by choosing a reward level and then including add-ons as you see fit. There's also a purely digital reward level for those who would only want the PDF of the main book. And so a word on pricing. We are located in France, so our pricing is the same for French language books and English language books. The issue that we have is that currently the exchange rates between the euro and the US dollar is not exactly in favor of the dollar, so it has an impact on pricing. So what we did, because we understand that the price of digital versions might be a bit steep for some people, we announced just before, an hour ago, that we're going to be including a free voucher for anyone who takes a physical reward coming with PDFs. So basically, if you pick a physical reward that has PDFs attached to it, whether they're part of the reward or they are added on as add-ons, you'll get a PDF, a voucher worth $15 that you can use on the Catalyst Game Store online store for PDF purchases.
Help offset that.
That's pretty cool. So that's if you're picking the English version, and if you pick the French version, you'll get a €10 voucher that you can use on our website. So that's like on top of the GM screen, that's a way to show our appreciation to people who support us. And I have to say, we're like so amazed to see that, like, I don't know how many people are back so far, but we're closing in on 1,000, I think. It's amazing. Like,
999. I'm watching it.
Wow. One away.
One away. And we're like $500. Oh, there's our 1,000. That we're at 1,000 backers. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much. Like, I mean, really, we might be France's leading TTRPG publisher, but compared to the US market, the international market, we're still like a small company. And it's amazing. I mean, you have to think what it represents for us. This opportunity to be working on a new core rulebook for Shadowrun, and being able to count on people from all over the world to trust us and support us. So it's like really, really amazing to see how many people have responded and have showed up so quickly within hours of launching this project. It's really cool.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. That's great. We are under $400 away from $100,000 US, which is, for those who don't know and are curious, 85,000 in what is your
in euros?
Is it euro?
Yeah,
euros. So really exciting stuff as we're climbing up there. And a lot of rewards, discounts for.
I'm gonna have to update the stretch goals soon because we have more coming up. So maybe that's an opportunity to say a word about stretch goals, by the way. So what we have in store actually is something that Mathieu, who's the lead designer on Anarchy 2.0, was very adamant about. Is we want to make the game easy to play and to provide GMs and players with like useful tools to simplify and speed up gameplay around the table. So basically, what we want to do is include cheat sheets, which are basically like reference sheets, like quick. I'm not sure what the word. how to describe it, but it's basically
quick start rules or quick reference guide.
Yeah, exactly. Like quick reference cards pertaining to certain types of rules or certain aspects of play. So basically, you'll have a cheat sheet for decker characters. You'll have one for ringers. You'll have one for spellcasting and spirit summoning, for instance. So all of this already exists in the book, but it will be compiled and reorganized into very practical and very convenient handouts that you can use, either the GM or the players can use. So that's one thing. There's a certain amount of those that we'd like to unlock. I think maybe they're already all unlocked, I think. I don't have the stretch goals at hand, but let me see.
I can go look for them if you
you
like. We're 100 sorry, now we are just $107. Oh wait, no, we're still I was looking at euros. We're still $150 away from 100,000. So I keep watching it.
So yeah, I think that's going to be actually they've already been all unlocked. There's like eight of those, and they've already been unlocked at 40K and 60K. So they're already secure. Good work. And we have NPC reference sheets, which are basically tables and stats for NPCs. So in the book, there will be a whole chapter on NPCs, and they will be ranked by level. So basically, you have 3 main levels you're gonna be facing. Wow, so cool! This is so cool. Thank you everyone.
So much.
Yeah, this is so cool.
If you really want to tease me, you can cancel your pledge and repledge and just dance over that line.
No, won't do that. No, this is really so cool. I don't know if you know what, Ram. If we had planned for it, I'm not sure. I'm not sure we would have managed, because really it happens just as we are live on this stream. It's so cool.
Yeah, that was perfect timing.
Yeah. So yeah, NPC reference sheets. Basically, you have 3 levels for the opposition in this game. You have like street level, I think runner level, and you have elite level. And basically, you'll have stats for I don't know, police or armed forces personnel at each level. You'll have the same for street thugs, gangers, elite gangers, low-level spirit, nature spirits, mid-level nature spirits, high-level nature spirits, etc., etc. Same thing for matrix threats. Same thing for I don't know, anything you can think of. So those NPCs are already included in the book, but they will be provided as separate reference sheets that mostly the GM can use. Have it hold it in his or her hands. And the other thing is pre-gens. So we'll have 12 pre-generated characters in the book, and as stretch goals get unlocked, we will print them out separately with their personal story and their character sheet. Also, so you can just hand them out to your players. If you're interested in creating your own character, you can do that. If you're interested in quick play, just use one of the 12 pre-gens. You can do that and just hand the pre-gen over to your players. So that's really, really cool. And we have a few more surprises along the way. Like the book comes with a 4-part campaign. So it's basically 4 adventures that can be played separately or as the 4 parts of a campaign. It's designed to take you by the hand, whether you're like if you're a new player, it's going to be very do you say didactic in English? Maybe not. It's going to take you by the hand and like really run you through the various tests you have to do and make it easy for you, and then add more layers as you move on to the next steps. So 4-part campaign, and it has a nice map designed by a very talented graphic artist. And if we reach 120K, we'll unlock that as a separate printout as well. Yeah, and a few more surprises.
Awesome.
Like 100K, we unlock a bookmark. We've already unlocked some finish improvements to the cover, etc. And we have more. We have more under, undercover right now that we hope we get to unveil soon.
Awesome. Well, that is a really exciting Kickstarter. It's great to see that it's already at 100,000 US and 1,000 backers. That shows the love of this IP that has been around for 36 years at this point. And I want to definitely get to Q&A here because there are a couple questions that have popped up for you, Tony. But first, just a quick update on the news, because I launched right into talking with you. I usually do a little time for new stuff. So just to let you guys know, I don't have too much for you this week that's new. I did verify some of the release dates, so I can pull that up for you. Product, yeah, there we are. Master release schedule. So coming September 9th is the BattleTech 3rd Star League Battle Group Force Pack and the Emplacements Force Pack. So that's coming September. Early October is the Technical Readout 3025 Commemorative Edition, Gothic, and the Gothic Salvage Box. It looks like the 100mm Atlas is going to come in November. It's on a different boat. And then also early October, the 21st Centauri Lancers Command Lance goes to B&N Barnes & Noble for exclusive for 6 months. So that's coming for September and October. And then for Shadowrun, Risks and Rewards should be releasing early October, and Deus Ex Arcana is moved to November 26th. Then I've got, do I have anything else? Oh, board game. I think early October is also supposed to be Guardians of the Four Winds. And it tentative, so it's not for sure, but the Kung Fu Panda Street Food Showdown card game should be December-ish for release as well. So that's exciting stuff. And then reprints as well I have. So I have Art of Food. We're getting a reprint order in. Encounters, BattleTech Encounters is going to be arriving for an October re-release or refresh. And Guardian of the Four Winds is Quincy's Tavern's game, and that's October release. So exciting stuff. And then I did get some links as well in the YouTube chat for my moderators here. We do have a link for Leviathan's Rendezvous in Rio, a Leviathan short story by William H. Keith. So I'm going to drop that link in the chat here. Boop. There you go. And do I have any others? Oh, Augment issue 3 for Shadowrun is now available. So I'm going to drop that in the chat. Boop. Anything else that they... Oh, there's more. If I keep scrolling up, there's more and there's more. BattleTech, Strength of the Pack 1, Part 1 by Jason Hansa. I'm going to give you guys that one. Sorry, I don't have my full keyboard system in front of me since I'm traveling, so I can't type very easily. But what else do we have? Then we have the Shadowrun Anarchy 2.0 Kickstarter link. So I'm going to drop that in here. So if you haven't yet, nope, it tried to resend Strength of the Pack. That's cheating. You don't get 2 posts. Copy link. There we go. Paste. And finally, the last link I have is our My Hero Academia minis game. pre-launch link. So boop, there it is. There's all the links for you guys. And I'm going to head on over to the Q&A document. Thank you, moderators. So questions for you, Tony. Are there any plans for Anarchy-specific source books, adventures, campaigns, etc., or Anarchy support in the mainline SR6 books and products and augment? That's a lot of questions in one.
Yeah, so I mean, I can't answer that. Honestly, I can't answer that positively at the moment, because we're just at the very beginning of launching this Kickstarter campaign. So to tell you that we already have plans for an extension wouldn't be honest. Ideas, we do have ideas, and Mathieu, who's designing the game, has 1,000 ideas. As you can see, with the French version of Anarchy V1, we came up with a companion book. It's just above my head. It was a French language exclusive. So ideas, we do have ideas, but really we're putting 100% of our energy right now into making this Kickstarter campaign a success. The Kickstarter will be one thing, and how many people back the project and how successful it is eventually will definitely be an extremely important factor, but also how the game sells in the further down the line in LGSs, etc. will be a factor as well. So really, it's going to be up to how the general public receives and adopts the game, and whether there's demand for it. But right now, to tell you that we already have something in the works, no, that's not the case. We certainly hope that the game, is successful.
Cool. Sorry, I forgot to mute if there was any echo there. Sorry, guys. Kalos's Gaming Table asks, I'm not familiar with Anarchy or Anarchy 2. Will there be a method to convert older source books to the system? What do you recommend for that, Tony?
So if you like to convert older source books, so first of all, if you're talking about source books that deal mostly with lore and like the world aspects of the world, obviously it's 100% fully compatible, since it's the same universe, it's the exact same plot lines. By the way, you can completely, you can totally buy sixth edition lore books and use those with Anarchy, because if you want to follow the plot, it's completely the same. Rules wise, the team is working on a way to convert your Anarchy V1 characters to V2. So that will be possible without it's not going to be very difficult to do. As for converting converting characters from previous editions, the systems are vastly different. So we would recommend to just take your character from whatever V4, V5, V6, whatever you're playing, and see how you can adapt it to V2 using V2 character creation rules, basically. Yeah, you're muted.
You know what I said. Next question is from Vincent. How long does the early bird last?
A good question. I think I don't want to say anything. I don't want to be mistaken. I don't remember if it's 3 days, so until Thursday, or more than that. But at the minimum, it would be 3 days. So 3 days from today. I'm really bad at math, so it's Tuesday. So at the minimum until Friday. But I don't quote me on that. It might be longer than that. But in any case, it will be at least 3 days. So 72 hours.
Okay, yeah. Sounds good. Yeah, usually it's the first 3 days of the campaign, so Tuesday through Thursday. Brian Kirchhoff asks, as a backer, will there be an opportunity to get access to early drafts or previews?
Yeah, actually, you already have access to the layout preview of what the final book will look like. You have access to the table of contents, and the PDF version will be available soonish. I mean, it's all written, it's all illustrated, it's all proofread. We have like a few edits to make to some of the files, but it's going into layout now. So we're basically going back and forth with various layout proposals. As you can see, there will be two different background colors to the pages. The book will be clearly broken down into lore sections, which will be covered in character. So basically, it's shadow talkers talking to you, the reader, as someone who lives in the sixth world, just like lore books are usually presented in Shadowrun. They will have a certain color background, and rules sections will be presented a bit differently. So you can already get that notion. You already have the table of contents and the PDF. So what I was getting at is we are doing this back and forth to finalize the layouts. When we reach a decision on the final layout design, we'll just finalize the PDFs, and they should be ready pretty soon. So we mentioned, I think, early 2026 as a release date for the PDFs, because we want to, since we cannot commit to an exact date right now, we just put the furthest date that we can, but it will be sooner than that, most likely. So yeah, If you put the PDF, you'll have access to all of it.
All right. Question for me. What is the current status of Leviathan's U.S. fulfillment, and what is the status of international fulfillment? So U.S., I did get an update earlier this week. We're going to be putting it into a backer update if it hasn't come out already. I'm not sure. That for U.S., they started with largest orders. So the percentage isn't that impressive because they're big orders. But it's going to start moving faster as we get past. I think it was at like 10% or something like that of total orders, because they're the big boys. So that should be moving faster as they get through those bigger orders and get into the smaller orders. So I don't have an estimation. It's one of the things we can ask for in terms of when domestic fulfillment will be done. I don't have an estimate yet, but absolutely can ask. And then international fulfillment. So we found out we don't have to do, we think, unless something's wrong, we don't have to do GSPR paperwork like they had originally asked for, because the Leviathan's Kickstarter was done a couple of years ago before all that went into effect. So we are in the process this week of moving or instructing to move merch from China to the hubs. So we do have our contracts in place now, as far as I'm aware, and we have been given the go-ahead to send those shipments. So as soon as we get those underway, then we'll be working with those hubs to get the pricing quotes for those backers, and we can do that while merch is moving, I believe. So you should be seeing communication fairly soon about that once we get contact with our hubs. And by we get contact, I mean Tyler and our team that's doing this. So another question, any news on Mercs Wave 4 fulfillment? Yeah, so Platforms has US domestic Wave 4 stuff, like all the orders. So they're supposed to be getting underway with, I think they're waiting on a signature or an invoice or something. I need to follow up on that. I can't remember which. But that should be getting going, and that is more than half of the Wave 4 Kickstarter items are US or Canada or rest of world. And then for international, we had the same GSPR issues and moving merch and stuff like that. We also had to move merch, or are moving merch, from the QML hubs to our own hubs to finish, because QML is done. So moving that merch, seeing what shortages still remain, getting that stuff all over there, and then we'll be able to fulfill the last of Wave 4. So shouldn't be too long now, thankfully. And then final quotes for, we have 4A, which is the stuff where people are already paid on their shipping and stuff. And then we have Wave 4B that still needs to be quoted, and that's like 80 some people, I think. So that should be coming for each of those hubs as well. We are getting quotes to see how much it would cost to ship direct, because if it's reasonable for the backers, then we could just ship direct for those last 4B people, which would get it to them faster rather than us sending more merch to the hubs for that fulfillment. So, and then getting all the quotes back and forth and stuff like that. So we are looking into that as an option as well. And then last question I have, Billy question. Oh, Billy, space question. For Rem, any chance we get an updated roadmap for 2025, 2026? It's getting there. It's getting there. I've got pretty much the rest of this year. I'm meeting on Fridays with Talon, who has taken it over now. And we're actually looking at what's on each of the ships and adjusting each week. So we have pretty much the rest of the year pretty much planned, unless there's delays of what's on the water. Like we think that the Karita Force Packs will be here in December, but there's always a chance that gets delayed because of shipping reasons. But the next meeting that we have, which is supposed to be this Friday, as long as we have that meeting, we should be starting to look at next year as well. And I need to, it's not just Talon too, but I need to connect with the different teams, because sometimes I get new surprises of what's releasing that I didn't know about that got moved up or added or whatever to the release schedule. So here is Tuesday Newsday as of right now is the best place to get that info, because I go over it with you guys each week. So I've got the September and October. And next week I can give you guys a bigger rundown on November, December as well. So that's all the time we have. So if you guys, thank you so much, Tony, for being here, first of all, and for staying up late with me.
It's a pleasure, and thank you for having me. I just want to mention that the team behind Anarchy 2.0, including Mathieu, who's the lead designer, they're very eager to talk to all of you, to answer your questions. They're available through comments on the Kickstarter page. They're available through forums, Discord, on Reddit, on RPGNet forums. So basically, go there, ask your questions. They're really happy to discuss everything, rules points, design choices with you. If you have any questions, we'll answer to the best of our abilities. And really, thank you so much for the reception so far and for your support.
Thank you, and thank you for loving Shadowrun as much as you do and keeping it alive over in Europe and beyond. So really appreciate your work, and you can support Black Book, you can support Shadowrun Anarchy 2.0. We are going to be playing some games of it at GameholeCon. If you're going to that in October in Madison, I'll be running some, and RJ, the line developer, will be running some as well. I'll also be running my first ever MechWarrior Destiny game, so some BattleTech RPG love in there. And a whole bunch of stuff is going on at GameholeCon. And then this weekend is PAX West and, right? Yeah, this weekend is PAX West. I lost track of time in my head for a second. And Nova Open. So we'll be there. PAX West, we're going to be on the Sky Bridge this time instead of in the vendor hall. So look for us there. And next week, I'll be with several of our team members at Alliance Open House in Fort Wayne. So retailers will be there to talk to you and answer questions. We're doing a ACES special event to teach you how to play and talk about it. So that'll be a lot of fun, and appreciate you guys. So thank you. Thank you, Tony. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.